There is a moment in Outlander that still sends chills through every fan, one short scene that changed the entire story before it even began. A silent figure standing in the rain, watching Claire through a window. A man dressed like a Highlander from another century. A man who should not exist in 1946. That ghostly silhouette is Jamie Fraser. And for years, viewers have been asking the same question: how is Jamie's spirit standing there long before he ever meets Claire? Today, we dive deep into the mystery that started it all. It all begins in Season 1. Episode 1. Claire Randall and her husband Frank are on a second honeymoon in Inverness after World War II. Their marriage is strained. They're trying to reconnect, and the world around them feels uncertain after so much loss. One rainy night, Frank steps outside and sees someone standing across the street. The man is motionless, watching Claire through the window with a kind of calm sadness. He's dressed like he comes straight from the 18th century, but the shock doesn't come from his clothes. It comes from the way the man disappears without a sound, like mist fading in the air. Frank runs to Claire, shaken. He tells her what he saw: this Highlander staring at her as if he already knew her. Claire tries to laugh it off, but the moment stays with her. This isn't just a random ghost sighting. This is the only time in the entire series that the supernatural bends in a way even Outlander's rules can't explain. Time travel in this show requires stones, bloodlines, physical risk. But this is something else, something deeper, something that ignores every rule the story has taught us. Jamie Fraser is alive centuries earlier. Yet his spirit is standing in 1946 as if he is searching for Claire before their lives even cross. The puzzle becomes even stranger when Reverend Wakefield tries to explain it. He suggests it's just an old ghost wandering nearby, a harmless echo of the past. But Frank knows what he saw. This wasn't a ghost repeating an old memory. This was a man looking at Claire with recognition. And even more haunting, Jamie's ghost seems drawn to Claire in a way Frank cannot understand. This moment plants the seed of doubt, not just in Frank's mind, but in the minds of viewers. How can Jamie's spirit travel to a time he can never physically reach? Why does he appear only once? And why in front of Claire before they have ever met? Diana Gabaldon, the author of the Outlander books, later confirmed something that took the mystery to a whole new level. Jamie's ghost is not the ghost of an older, battle-worn warrior. It is the ghost of a 25-year-old Jamie Fraser. This means the ghost in the rain isn't tied to a future death or an old version of himself. It's tied to a very specific moment in Jamie's young life, a moment filled with pain and change. This single detail completely transforms how fans look at this scene. Jamie isn't some ancient spirit reaching forward from old age. He is a young man whose soul has crossed time before his body ever meets Claire. This makes the moment not just spooky, but emotional. It hints that their connection goes beyond time, beyond logic, maybe even beyond life itself. And this is why this scene becomes the foundation of the entire Outlander story. Before Claire steps through the stones, before Jamie and Claire fall in love, before history reshapes their lives, this ghost tells us that their destinies were tied long before their hands ever touched. Outlander has very clear rules about how time travel works. And that's exactly why Jamie's ghost stands out as the biggest mystery in the whole story. When Claire travels through the stones, her body and mind move together. She doesn't die. She doesn't leave behind a spirit. She physically walks into another century. Others like Gillis and Brianna follow the same pattern. Travelers bleed, breathe, feel pain, and live fully in whatever time they arrive. Nothing about this process leaves room for ghostly versions of people appearing in other eras. And yet, Jamie, who never travels through the stones, shows up in 1946 in a form that shouldn't exist. The story never gives us another ghost like this. Not once. No Highlanders wandering out of their own century. No echoes of dead characters crossing into the future. Jamie's ghost is completely alone. It's something the show introduces immediately in the opening episode and then never explains. That silence only makes the mystery stronger. Each time Claire travels, each time a new traveler appears, Viewers compare every rule to that ghostly figure in the rain and realize the same thing: he shouldn't be there. Jamie is a man of flesh and blood, tied to his own time. He does not step through stones. He doesn't even hear the buzzing sound travelers usually sense. So how can he appear in Claire's world decades before she returns to the 20th century? The most unusual part is that the ghost doesn't behave like a normal spirit either. Most ghosts in folklore repeat the same motions, stuck in old memories or past regrets. Jamie's ghost acts with intention. He looks at Claire as if he knows her deeply, almost protectively. That expression changes everything. It suggests that this moment is not random. It is not traditional haunting. It is something connected to who Jamie becomes, not who he was. And that makes the mystery even bigger. Then comes the real shock. Diana Gabaldon herself confirmed that Jamie's ghost is only 25 years old. This detail destroys every basic explanation fans once had. It isn't an older Jamie remembering Claire through time. It isn't the spirit of a man who dies much later. It's tied to young Jamie long before he meets Claire, long before Scotland breaks his heart, long before he becomes the man we know. It raises even deeper questions. Why would his young spirit travel to the future? What moment in his life is so powerful that his soul crosses time on its own? And why does it seek Claire specifically? Many fans once believed that Jamie's ghost must appear at some point near the end of his life, maybe when he dies. But the fact that he is only 25 destroys that theory completely. His ghost doesn't belong to the end of his story, it belongs near the beginning. Something happens in Jamie's youth that frees his spirit for a moment, something so emotional that it transcends time itself. Yet we never see this moment on screen, at least not yet. Season 8 may reveal it, but the books tell us that the full truth comes in the final novel. This is where the mystery becomes more romantic than chilling. Claire and Jamie's connection is not something that starts when she falls through the stones. It isn't even something that begins in Jamie's adult life. Their bond may be something older, something deeper, something that existed before they ever met. Jamie's ghost hints that fate brought them together long before they shared a word. It almost feels like Jamie's soul found Claire first, as if he recognized something in her that he was always meant to love. This is the reason the ghost scene is not just spooky, it is meaningful. It sets the tone for the entire series. Outlander isn't just a story about time travel. It's a story about connection strong enough to break the rules of time itself. And Jamie's ghost is the first sign that their love story is more than history. More than destiny, may be something eternal. For years, Outlander fans have tried to fill the silence left by that ghost in episode 1, since the show never answers the question directly. People built their own explanations, some emotional, some logical, and some so strange they almost feel supernatural. But each theory tries to make sense of one simple truth: Jamie's ghost appears in a time he can never physically reach. And he appears only once, for Claire. That makes the mystery feel more like fate than fright. And every theory grew from that single, unforgettable moment. The first and most widely discussed idea is what people call the near-death soul projection theory. This one comes from old Scottish folklore, where someone who is close to death can have their soul drift or appear in another place, sometimes to someone they are destined to meet. Fans link this to Jamie's life at 25, a time when he faces loss, pain, and moments where death sits close beside him. Outlander has always woven real Scottish beliefs into the story, so the idea that Jamie's spirit could reach across time in a moment of extreme trauma feels strangely believable. But this theory struggles when you consider that souls in folklore don't usually travel through centuries, they wander only slightly beyond their physical bodies. Not into the future. Another powerful idea is the soulbond theory. This one suggests that Claire and Jamie are connected long before she falls through the stones, almost like two souls that recognize each other across time. It explains the ghost's expression: calm, familiar, even protective, as if Jamie already knows she belongs with him. Instead of haunting her, it feels like he is watching over her. Outlander has always hinted at their connection being something bigger than the world around them, something almost spiritual. Claire feels drawn to Jamie from the moment she arrives in 1743, and Jamie seems to sense her importance long before he understands why. The ghost could be the first sign of a bond that exists beyond time itself. Then there is the guardian spirit theory. In this idea, Jamie doesn't appear because he has died or because he's dreaming. His spirit appears because Claire is about to enter a life she cannot escape from. Standing in the rain, the ghost looks more like a protector than a lost soul. He watches her just before she is pulled into his world. It's as if he is guiding her, as if some part of him already knows the stones will take her. Fans who love this theory believe that Jamie's spirit is trying to make sure she fulfills the destiny that brings them together. It's not a warning, it's a welcome, but one theory stands above the others in terms of emotional impact, and it is also the one that Diana Gabaldon said comes closest to the truth. This is the last breath theory. It suggests that at the moment Jamie eventually dies many years in his future, his soul reaches through time to find the woman who shaped his life. But the confirmed age of the ghost, 25, changes this theory into something far more delicate and complicated. It means Jamie's spirit may not be tied to his final breath at all. Instead, it could be tied to a moment earlier in his life, a moment where his world breaks or reshapes itself in a way that marks him forever. Something at age 25 might shatter him so deeply that his soul slips free for an instant. Long enough to cross the barrier of time and seek out Claire. Fans have argued about these theories for over a decade. And what makes them so powerful is that every one of them tries to answer a mystery that was designed to remain unanswered at least until the final book. The show gives us hints, small touches, glances of meaning, but never a solution. That silence is intentional. It turns the ghost into more than a supernatural moment. It becomes a symbol of everything Outlander is about: love, destiny, loss, and time bending for the people who are meant to find each other. Season 8 carries a huge weight on its shoulders. Because it isn't just the ending of a story, it is the moment when a decade-old question may finally receive its answer. The ghost of Jamie Fraser has hovered over Outlander from the very first episode like a silent promise, a thread that ties the beginning of the story to its end. And now, with the final season drawing from the final book, fans are closer than ever to understanding what that haunting figure in the rain truly meant. But the beauty of this mystery lies in how deeply it's woven into the emotional heart of the series, not just the rules of time travel or supernatural logic. This is a story about love, loss, and connection. And whatever the truth is, it will come from those themes because that's what Outlander has always been about. Season 8 has the potential to show us moments in Jamie's life that we've never seen before. Moments that shape him not just as a warrior or as a husband, but as a soul. Since Diana Gabaldon confirmed that the ghost is 25, viewers know that the answer lies in that specific period of Jamie's past. This means the show may revisit a younger Jamie, perhaps through memories or emotional flashbacks, revealing something powerful enough to break through time itself. It could be tied to grief, sacrifice, or a near-fatal moment that changes who he is. Whatever happens at this age is something the audience has never fully understood, and Season 8 might finally give that missing piece. This isn't about Jamie dying, nor about the end of his life. It's about something much earlier. Something that shaped the man Claire falls in love with, but beyond Jamie's youth. Season 8 may also explore the deeper spiritual thread that has always connected him to Claire. The series has never shied away from showing how their relationship goes beyond simple romance. They feel each other across distances, dream of each other without reason, find one another in impossible circumstances. That ghost scene was the first whisper of this connection, and the final season may show us how deep it truly runs. Perhaps we will see moments where Jamie senses Claire long before they meet, or where Claire feels an echo of him before she understands why. The show could reveal that their bond wasn't created by the stones that existed long before the stones played their part. One of the most intriguing possibilities is how the show will handle the moment of Jamie's eventual spiritual release. Diana Gabaldon has described the explanation as metaphysical, not scientific, which means the answer will come from emotion, not mechanics. Viewers might learn that Jamie's soul has the ability to move beyond time at a moment of overwhelming love, fear, or fate. It might be that the universe bends for him just once, allowing his spirit to travel forward to the moment Claire needs him most or the moment he needs her. This isn't traditional ghost lore, and it isn't time travel as the show defines it. It's something more intimate, something poetic, something that fits the emotional weight of Outlander's story. Season 8 may also use the ghost revelation to bring the entire narrative full circle. The series began with Jamie's spirit watching Claire, and it may end with a moment that mirrors or explains that scene in a deeply emotional way. Fans may discover what the ghost was feeling, what he understood, and why he looked at Claire with that calm, familiar sadness. The truth may show that the ghost wasn't haunting anyone, he was simply witnessing the beginning of a destiny he already belonged to. And in understanding the ghost, viewers may finally see Outlander not just as a story about surviving war, crossing centuries, and fighting for love, but as a story about souls meeting across lifetimes, whatever the final reveal is. One thing is certain, the mystery of Jamie's ghost was never meant to be frightening. It was meant to be meaningful. It was the first clue that Jamie and Claire are not bound by rules, eras, or logic. They are bound by something deeper, something that drives Jamie's soul to cross an impossible distance just to see her. And when Season 8 finally pulls back the curtain, fans won't just understand the ghost, they will understand the true heart of Outlander. The mystery of Jamie's ghost has always pulled fans toward the supernatural side of Outlander. But at its core, the meaning behind that moment is deeply emotional rather than mystical. When you look closely at the entire story, every loss Jamie endures, every sacrifice Claire makes, every battle, every separation, something becomes clear. Outlander was never really about time travel. It was always about two people whose lives are bound together in a way neither era nor death can break. And Jamie's ghost is the first quiet sign that this connection exists beyond physical reality. Long before Claire touches the stones, long before she meets Jamie in 1743, and long before their story truly begins, the ghost stands there like a symbol of something eternal, a bond that already knows its destiny. Think about what Jamie becomes through the series. At 25, he is still young, still learning how to survive, still trying to understand who he is. By the time Claire enters his world, he becomes more than a soldier or a laird. He becomes someone who loves with a depth that scares him and saves him at the same time. Their relationship is not built on convenience or simple attraction. It is built on recognition, on that strange sense that they were always meant to find each other. And that is why the ghost scene holds such power. It suggests that Jamie's soul already knew Claire before his body ever met her. It suggests that his connection to her exists outside the rules of life and beyond the rules of time. The emotional truth behind the ghost is tied to this idea of recognition, the heart knowing something before the mind does. When Jamie looks at Claire through that window, he doesn't stare the way a stranger would. He watches her with the calm sadness of someone who already loves her but hasn't met her yet. It's a look filled with longing, curiosity, and a quiet ache that matches the melancholy that often surrounds Jamie in his youth. He is a man who loses family, home, and peace long before he finds Claire. So the ghost almost feels like a moment where his soul reaches for something comforting, something familiar, something that will eventually give his life meaning. And that is what makes Diana Gabaldon's confirmation of the ghost's age so powerful. It tells us that Jamie's spirit is not shaped by his future self, it is shaped by his younger self, the self who is still wounded, still searching, still longing. Something happens at that age that leaves his soul open and vulnerable. Something so emotional that it might push his spirit beyond the walls of his own time. Whether it is an act of love, a moment of pain, or a turning point in his path, it is clear that the ghost is born from Jamie's heart more than his mind. This is not the story of a man haunting the woman he loves. It is the story of a soul recognizing its other half before life brings them together. The emotional truth grows even deeper when you consider Claire's journey. She has always lived her life between worlds, between war and peace, between two men, between two centuries. Jamie becomes the anchor that steadies her. And perhaps, on some level, her presence in 1946 calls to Jamie without either of them understanding why. Maybe her choice to travel through the stones doesn't just change her life. Maybe it echoes backwards, touching Jamie's spirit in the past. This creates a loop that is not scientific but emotional, a loop where destiny flows in both directions, shaping them long before they meet. Season 8 may finally give us the moment that explains everything. But the emotional truth is already clear. The ghost appears because Jamie and Claire's connection is bigger than the timeline they fall into. It is bigger than life and death. It is bigger than logic. The ghost